Welcome back to another episode of another Bourbon Show. This is the last episode of the year. Fucking thank God, right? Like we've been sitting here, like I don't know when Steven will cut the audio in, but we've been sitting here bitching about 2022 for the last probably 5 or 10 minutes, and I am not sad to see 2022 go.
No, I haven't been sad to see a year go in a while, actually.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I really can't remember the last time I was actually sad to see a year go. I'm trying to think when that would have been.
2020 was pretty rough.
Oh yeah, but it was way before that.
Yeah.
That I was like sad, like yeah. Have you seen the theories about the Mayans and the end of the Mayan calendar? And that the world did actually end at the end of 2022 or 2012, excuse me. And that everything since then is like we're in basically purgatory.
It feels kind of like that. Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But tonight we've got so it's our end of year episode. We're going to be talking about our highlights, some lowlights of the bourbon world. We're going to be talking about just a year in review, if you will. And we are all drinking our own choice, whatever you want to drink for the night. So I'm actually drinking an Old Monroe bottle. It's just a small batch, 21I1. One of my favorites from Stumpy's. So I will be sad to see this bottle go. But it's been a good one, and I mean, shit, I've had it for a year and a half, almost 2 years probably. So it's time. It's time. Steven, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, right now I'm drinking some Nulu. This is a pick that I picked up in Louisville, and it's a toasted barrel finish, and it's the bourbon whiskey toasted finish.
Look at those bottles. Utterly identical. On the bottom, do you have, right in the center, a symbol of two bottles side by side with like a case, like an E.H. Taylor tube behind it? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Do you have that?
It looks kind of like it. I have like really dim lighting in here. I'm not going to be able to show you, I don't think.
Yeah, we can't see it. Oh, I think it's the same thing. I think Stumpy's and Nulu have the same bottle producer.
But anyway, that's not my pick of the year.
Well, this is not my pick of the year either. It's just what I'm drinking tonight.
Right, but that's what I'm starting out drinking. I was going to be between one of these two. My pick of the year is going to actually be Oak and Eden, the Amburana wood finish, 4-grain pick from Wine and Cheese Place.
You know, there's a lot of things we could have done to like build the anticipation for your, instead of just like
telling them what I'm drinking tonight, like you asked.
Yeah, like in the middle of telling us, like you're not even drinking that right now. You're
Yeah.
Like I asked what you're drinking right now. You're drinking Nulu.
Well, not exactly. I am drinking both of them at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So I'm double fisting right now, and
Fair.
yeah, I think that I was gonna just drink the Nulu at first, but then I was like, ooh, I really like the Oak and Eden though, and so I brought it up as well, and I was like, I'm just gonna decide which one, and then having them side by side, I'm like, the Nulu's great, but I have a couple. To be honest, I have a couple bottles downstairs that are very similar to it, as good as it is. I don't really have anything that's like the Oak and Eden, so it's kind of my surprise of the year / pick of the year. So that's why.
Well, Jesus, why don't you just tell them everything? Like, are you just trying to like, you're writing this in? I'm sorry, you're phoning it in. You're gonna log off and just leave. Just get it all out in the open.
Yeah, the Blues play in 20 minutes, trying to get in and out. But yeah, that's what I'm drinking.
Okay. Fuck you, Steven. right, Ryan, what about you? What are you drinking, bud?
I got 3 bottles here. One I thought we drank this year. That's just kind of like my go-to after I finish a vial of what you guys send me. Just the Yellowstone
Yeah.
93 proof, which is just, I mean, I've had a couple bottles of these this year, and it's so smooth, goes down easy. I got our barrel pick here as well. I've done a little damage on trying to drink it slow, but one of my tops this year was the Jack Daniel's single barrel rye.
Yeah,
which was awesome, and I've been nursing that as well. I know Steven, you really like this bottle too. It's
I like that beautiful 375 you got of it too.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think we talked maybe that episode or definitely like around that episode of like how nice it is whenever companies offer that, even if it's a bad value proposition. It's just it's just neat, I think.
Yeah.
To get a smaller sample of something, because it's just as nice sometimes to just have a bottle to be able to try out and not have it stuck on your shelf and have a full 750 of it if you end up not liking it that much. Or it's just nice to rotate stuff in and out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Brown-Forman does a great job with the small sizes. I mean, they replicate what the 750s look like, and they don't cut any corners. You'll see a lot of companies with a smaller size, the bottle will be completely different.
Even their 50 mLs are the same size, the same shape, right? Like
yeah,
same
and
exact
glass.
bottle design.
Yeah, they're glass. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like,
and they're like $5, but it's like, well,
yeah.
Okay.
It's expensive stuff, but yeah, like you'll see like a brand like New Amsterdam, small sizes. It's a completely different shape than the original bottle. Yeah. Like, what am I drinking here? So the parody is real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost makes you think in a weird way, if it's like totally different bottle, you're like, it's like a knockoff. You know what I mean? Like the brand is part of that thing. You feel like you're getting cheaped out on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've already talked, Steven, you already told us what your bottle of the year was. The Okanagan.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we're going to do an episode on it pretty soon. Because I gave you guys some vials. Ryan, you'll get it soon.
Yeah.
But I gave you guys.
He dropped it off at my house on Saturday or Sunday or whatever.
Oh, very nice.
And what makes it the pick for me is one, how blindsided I was, because we have a infamous lost episode of Okanagan now after I accidentally deleted the file, which, I mean, we're not going to talk about it, whatever. And that one, it was okay. Like the base Okanagan was okay. I don't think any of us hated it, as I recall, but I think we were just like, it was okay. The
too gimmicky.
Spire's a gimmick, yeah. But a friend of mine bought this for me after that had happened, and he was, I would say, quote unquote, suckered in by the Spire and everything. He saw that and he was like, "Oh, that's a cool gimmick, right?" He fell for like the marketing in the store and was like, "Hey, it's a store pick. It has this cool wrinkle where there's a spire in it or whatever." Anyway, he gives this to me. I try it because it's a gift, whatever, and I think it'll at least be okay. So we break it open, and I was like, I didn't even really realize, like, even though he told me, I didn't really realize it was a store pick. But then I tasted it, and I was like, oh shit, this is good. And I was like, why is this so much better than I remember? And I started looking at it, and I was like, there's something called Amburana wood that is giving it this flavor. And it is just a way different, I think potentially divisive, but it's a way different flavor profile than I get with pretty much anything else. It's a similar revelation to me, not saying it's as good, but it's a similar revelation to having the Angel's Envy rye for the first time. And you're just like, there's just so many, like, such a wild flavor profile they're able to pull from this, that it makes me really interested in having other Amburana wood finishes, because it's just like this apple pie explosion that you get. And it's like sort of a spicy apple pie, Yeah, I like it a lot. It hits all those right beats. It's still spicy, so I like that. There's a baking spice. There's a lot of decadence behind it too. And I think it'll hit for all of us, but we'll have to see.
I wish we had, some of the samples that you guys have sent over the course of the year. It's hard to go back and remember a whiskey that you can't refer back to that's already on your bar So I am going with this Jack Daniel's single barrel rye. I think what they do, like you get those classic Jack Daniel's notes, like there's like the buttery, like that butter and banana go together so well. And you almost forget it's a rye just based on some of the fruit that comes out. It's not overly spicy or anything like that, but I just feel like it's the perfect blend of everything. The proof is great at 47%, 94 proof. It's got a nice burn, but it's not overbearing. It's just a very pleasant thing to drink. And I don't feel like you get that with a ton of ryes. I mean, I there are the decadent ryes that I really like, but it's a nice blend of everything with this bottle. I get a lot more butteriness to it now that I'm drinking it today than I did back 6 months ago or 3 months ago, whenever we did it. This fucking year feels the longest year ever, but it's just good. It's easy to drink, man. And it's hard to get to. Maybe that does a little bit of it. The stock, the inventory on it's been rough. And, you know, this bottle is from a few years ago too, from my dad's home collection that I stole. So it was about 3 or 4 years old. Maybe that had something to do. You sit in the bottle and whatever magic happened in the bottle happened. But yeah, what they did 3 or 4 years ago with this bottle is great. And
it's still really good today, by the way. Like,
yeah,
like the Jack Daniel's ryes. Yeah, they're good products.
Yeah, and I mean they've done a really good job with ryes over the years too. You know, I know they have that standard Jack Daniel's rye, the 19.99 that goes right next to the regular Jack Daniel's on the shelf. But if you're looking to splurge, I mean, this bottle's probably $35 for a 375. You know, it doesn't get much better than that.
It seems like if you see a Jack Daniel's in that bottle shape, it's a buy.
Yep.
Yeah.
That seems to be, I mean, maybe there's like some slight, maybe that's not quite like the Coy Hill Reserve. Maybe that's not quite your cup of tea or whatever. But for the most part, I have not heard anybody say anything bad really about any Jack Daniel's in that bottle.
Yeah. And even the cork too. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the regular size cork for the 750 that they crafted into this. Like they just do everything right.
Cool. So my bottle of the year is our barrel pick. I like, hands down, unquestionably, to me, that was the best bourbon I've had all year long. And I'm not saying that because we picked it. We picked it because that's what we thought about it. I'm not shitting you. I would stack our barrel pick up against fucking almost anything I've got on my shelves. Like, it really is that good to me. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And if listeners, watchers, if you've got it and you agree or disagree, then comment and tell us. Like, I want to know what other people think about it too, because I just fucking love it. I wish I had another case of it. I've got enough bottles to last me a while, but I wish I had a whole nother case of it. So I'm going to go ahead and answer the next question that I wanted to ask as well. And that's your surprise of the year. The bottle that surprised you with how good it was. And for the listeners and the viewers, a lot of these I'm just springing on us as a group, and I hope that Steven will spring some on us, and I hope Ryan will as well. So the next one is again, the surprise of the year. And I've got two. They're a tie that surprised me that we drank on this show.
I think there's going to be some crossover here.
Yeah,
I think
so
we're
too.
all going to agree on a couple of these.
So the two that I have to identify that they surprised me how good they were when we drank them on the show were that Jepson's Barrel Pick and Sweetheart of the Rodeo.
That's the two I was going to say.
That's what I was going to say.
Those two, oh my God, they surprised me how good they were. Like that Sweetheart of the Rodeo, I can't tell you how many times I have looked into having bottles shipped to me, which is not going to be an expensive proposition. I just need to clear off some of the bottles that I have that I need to kill off before I have a couple shipped to me. But that has been a solid recommend to every People when I find out people live in Texas, they don't even have to ask me. I'm just like, hey, get Sweetheart of the Rodeo. It's for the most part a Texas only release. And they're like, oh, I don't drink bourbon. Well, fucking get it. It's that good. And then that Jepson's barrel pick was so damn good. And it shocked me how good it was.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about it for sure, grabbing that. Wasn't it aged in like a sherry cask or a port wine cask too? Or there was something there was something a little to it too as well, I believe.
I can tell you in 1 second. I'll look it up on the side here.
I thought it was just a standard Jepson's bourbon barrel pick, and we identified that it was clearly a MGP barrel.
It was a Benny's pick. It was cask strength. I don't know if there was any.
You passed. There was another finished one for sale at the same time that you passed on. If I think.
Yeah, I remember they had two different barrel picks there, and I picked one over the other. And I'm blanking on what it was, but yeah, that was really good. And Malort being what it is, what everyone knows, one of the worst things you could ever drink. And I drink a lot of it. I drink a lot of Malort. I don't necessarily enjoy it, but like I'll do it and like whatever, I don't care. So figured most of their stuff was sourced, and I'm like,
why do you drink it?
I mean, it's really popular up here, and it's kind of just a go-to shop for everybody.
You think everybody in Chicago has something to prove? Like they have a chip on their shoulder, and they have to, like Malort helps them exercise that.
I think it's just like some of it's like, what other shot are we gonna do? And you're like,
literally anything else.
I know,
exactly.
I know, but there's just something about the air up here, man. You're like, yep, I guess we're doing it. I guess we're doing it.
It helps them feel superior.
Yeah, I don't feel superior when I'm
all right
doing it. Yeah.
Those have been my two surprises as well, though. I think the Sweetheart of the Rodeo was also, and this was a category we were going to talk about, but I think the Sweetheart of the Rodeo was also probably my favorite episode of the year.
100%. That's my favorite episode of history for this show was episode 74, if I think.
You're right.
74?
Yeah.
Yep.
God, that episode, like, not only was Sweetheart of the Rodeo just a fantastic pour, but we just had so much goddamn fun that night. Like, I just remember, like I've got a big belly, and I had belly laughs throughout the night. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and the whiskey wasn't half bad either. Like, on top of that, we had this surprise.
Yeah.
Where, it was all good. We were rolling on all cylinders that night, fueled by Sweetheart of the Rodeo.
And I might have slept on the futon that night. I'm not sure.
That was one of our 3 hour podcast.
Yeah.
We should have a special playlist on YouTube that's like, if it ended with somebody sleeping on a futon, we should just denote that in some way, like it goes to that playlist, because then that's like our greatest hits, basically.
Yeah.
The Fireball episode was fun too.
It was.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good time.
I'm glad we got it out of our system.
I could throw that on us as a surprise as well. How not Fireball specifically, but how good Fireball with pineapple juice was. That went together really, really well. Like, that was a fantastic drink.
I had a shot over it. Out of curiosity, have you guys drank any Doval since we've done it on the episode?
Nope.
No.
I had zero interest in it.
I had it in like a spiked hot chocolate. It was pretty fucking good.
I would have it, and I might try that in a hot chocolate over the next couple of weeks or something. But I've not had any more.
Yeah.
For me, it would have to be like at a bar or at a restaurant or at someone else's house. Like, I'm not buying a bottle of it. I'm not, and I don't mean that. I don't mean this in a derogatory or bad way, but I'm not even buying like a 50 ml. I'm not buying a 375. I'll be happier to spend $8 to pay a bartender to do something with it because it's on a menu and somebody's already used their own creativity, as opposed to spending $3 for a small bottle and then me fucking it up potentially or whatever. So again, I'm not trying to hate on Doughball, but yeah, that's how.
Sounds like you're hating on Doughball, dude.
Sorry, dude.
I was just curious because I had my dad's side Christmas party, and I had like 2 separate cousins ask, like, "Have you had Doughball yet? It's pretty good." I was like, "What? Surprised you heard about it," So, and it's cousins I don't talk to normally, just we're not that close. So I thought that was curious. Yeah, I was curious about that. It seems like it's picking up some steam. I mean, I know it's not, a bourbon, but we did try it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
And I have no doubt that it's gonna do well, and it's gonna pick up steam. It was a good liqueur. Like, it tasted pretty darn close to cookie dough. So, yeah, what's there not to like? If that's what you're in the market for, then it's gonna be good. Same thing I think with Screwball. I'm a big fan of Screwball, but I just rarely buy it. So, actually, I haven't had any liqueur since we had that like week of liqueur that we did on the show, or like couple weeks that we did.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about like Doughball or Fire. Like, I've still got a 375 or 150. I don't know. Yeah, a 150 of Fireball in my refrigerator. Like, I think I've got some bourbon cream in there still. Like, so when I say I'm not hating on Doughball, I really am not. It's just, but I'm also not gonna have a bunch of liqueurs. I'm just not. So,
you know what? I think I'm going to start shooting out at bars now. I was out with my cousin last week. Dr. McGillicuddy's Menthol Mint reminds me back in the day of doing Rumpel Mints or Goldschlager.
I was going to say, yeah,
you have like 3 or 4 of those and you're just hammered, right? Like, I did 5 or 6 of them before a Louis C.K. show and, totally blacked out and didn't remember it. But I did a couple shots of that, but it's only like 25. It's only the Menthol Mint from Dr. McGillicuddy is only like 25%. So you could rip those like all night and be fine.
But I also think like that's the type of shit that gives you fucking diabetes, dude. Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, that's a good point, but it's not like
when
I'm going out every time and like ripping, I won't be ripping McGillicuddy's every time. I go out and probably do 3 or 4 shots of Fireball every time I'm out though. So I guess that's a lot of sugar. That might be more sugar.
Probably more sugar. but so like when you're doing like Goldschlager or Rumpelmans or whatever, like, yeah, it's like, I mean, your goal is to get shitty, right? Like you don't do shots of those being like, oh, I'm just having fun. You're like, no, I want to get drunk.
No,
like that's the goal
a sipper.
Sure is.
Man, those are just night enders for me back in the day, man. Yeah. My mom, this is like St. Patrick's Day, probably 2015, 2016. My mom and dad were supposed to fly out. Well, they did fly out to, I think, like New York City or something. It was St. Patrick's Day, the Southside Irish Parade. And my mom had 4 or 5 of those before her flight. Just totally blacked out. My dad comes in. He's like, Kelly, it's time to go. We're going to the airport. And she's like, oh, is it time to go, Daddy? And my dad turned around and left the bar. And he's like, when do you guys get her to the airport? I'm fucking done.
All right, what was the worst thing you drank this year?
Worst thing.
I can go first if you want, if you need time.
You go first.
Fucking Ritual, dude. That shit was horrible.
Yeah, if that counts, then I would say Ritual as well, but that's a different thing. I was gonna say like Whiskey Dicks was that was the other one that was top of mind. Yeah. And even that, I think it's been a pretty strong year because even that, I didn't like, the main thing was like the sort of the branding. I thought it was like okay. Like it was, it was middle of the road whiskey. So I think it's been a strong year, actually. I agree with everything you just said, Stephen. So like, I have to like, I can't think of what I drank that was bad and not just immediately go to Ritual, because like in hindsight, like my memories of it is like, have you ever dipped tobacco? Like,
For sure.
That's what it reminds me of. And yeah, I just can't get past it. So like spearmint, fucking Copenhagen or Kodiak or whatever whatever.
We didn't have a lot of bad ones. I mean, like American honey wasn't great.
Yeah,
You know, that was a
because
tough
it was
one
so
to
sticky.
do. Yeah, but I thought Jack Honey was a lot better.
Not
Four
a
Roses single barrel wasn't great, but
Oh, I thought it was.
I think I'm just more. I've never really had a Four Roses that I've loved.
Well, we're gonna have to change that about you. We're gonna change
It's fine
that.
with me. I'm open to it.
I think one early this year. It's hard to remember now, but I believe that the Frey Ranch was one that kind of disappointed me. I wouldn't say it was it was a bad one, but I think I had higher hopes. I think that was
Yeah.
like a letdown, I would consider.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I really liked the Pinhook High Proof. I thought it was very
yeah.
good. Yeah, that was a really good one.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of what. I mean, I think I said it probably fucking 30 times during that episode. I don't know how much of it made it to the recording, but I'm a big fan of a Pinhook just all around.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think we need to do is I think that we need to for 2023, I think we need to revisit some Penelope stuff. Because let me tell you, they have a fan base that is fucking rabid. And we did not like their 80 proof white label 4-grain. We thought that there was too big of a difference between like the white label and the cask strength. So we need to explore some additional Penelope stuff.
And there's a lot of offerings.
I've seen a lot of barrel picks. I've seen a ton of barrel picks lately too.
Yeah, there's a ton. So I think that that's something we need to do for 2023. I've got a bottle of their Tokai cask finish. So that's a Hungarian wine.
Are they trying to shoot themselves? They're trying to shoot themselves in the foot here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something we need to do for 2023. What else do we need to do for 2023?
I think we got to have some Knob Creek.
That's good. Good point.
Yeah.
And I think
Larceny.
we need to. Larceny's another, and I think we need to finally have Basil Hayden's. We haven't had any Basil Hayden's.
You know,
probably.
We've talked
We've
about
been
Basil
rough
Hayden's
on Jim Beam. Like Jim Beam Distillery, we've not been kind to. We've not had many of their offerings.
It's true.
Yeah.
What
I wonder by distillery who we've done the most. I feel like we're pretty consistent with not overdoing any one distillery too much.
I agree.
Like if anything, we've had more like MGP based products than any other.
But they weren't like so they were MGP products, but they were sourced
MGP products, yeah.
I'm trying to think of total products we've had from Jim Beam.
Legion, Jim Beam Black, Jim Beam.
We haven't actually drank Jim Beam on this show.
Have we not? Our 5.0?
We've never had white label.
We should probably at some point next year, have it on our radar and do some rabbit hole. We flirted with it. We couldn't get a free bottle. We abandoned it.
I mean, I do mention on a somewhat regular basis how we like that shows how fucking lazy we are. That right there. The whole rabbit hole experience. That shows how lazy we are. They invited us to the distillery.
Yeah, but isn't everybody invited to the distillery? It would just be a free tour.
They asked us though. We didn't.
They asked us to go to come to the distillery.
They said we could record there, right?
They said we could record anywhere we want. We had free reign over the entire fucking distillery. We could go wherever we wanted. they would give us any of their products that are standard off the shelf to drink. And they said, and if we like you, you can even dip into the Founders Collection. Bottles, like they've got a $1,200 bottle that's part of the Founders Collection.
We fucked that up.
And we're just like, yeah, fuck it. Why would we do that?
Is there any way that they would like just pack some of that shit up in a trailer and meet us halfway? Do we even have the balls to ask?
Can you meet us in Carbondale, please?
Another brother showing